Hello, my internet friends. I really wanted to kind of bring you up to speed to what we're doing here. Kind of snuck back into the studio here later at night, and we're going to have a little get-together here in a little bit. I had this, I don't know if it's a good idea or a great idea or what. I'll tell you later how good idea it was, but we had this idea that it would be really cool if we brought in our wives, the wives of several people that have been on the show the last 4 or 5 episodes, and really just kind of tell how they got into this whole deal with us, how it's been, the good times they've had, how they've enjoyed meeting each other, and the times they spent together. And so I'm going to sneak off here in just a minute, and they're going to show up here in just a little bit. And we're going to get them up here and just tell who they are and tell some stories of where they've been, and really kind of discuss what they know as far as the appreciation of these old cars and the joys and funs that we've had with them, the people we've met, the friends we've got all over the country because of these cars. And but I just wanted you to hear it from them. You know, I'm not going to have anything to do with it. I just wanted you to hear it from them. And so bear with us, and we will be right back.
Well, hi everybody. We are the wives of parking money because this was a great idea my husband had, or he's told me it was a great idea. So we've all gotten together just to kind of explain what happens at these concours, or why we're so behind our husbands with these cars. It's the fun side and the money side. So with my friends here, we're going to toast because we like the way we do podcast. So we're going to toast and kick off our podcast. Right. Cheers. Cheers, ladies. Cheers. Cheers. Cheers, girl. To a good podcast.
Ah, that's good.
Mm-hmm. I met each one of these ladies through cars of some sort. This is Jenna to my right. This is Jenna McSwain. I met Jenna probably 8, 9, 10 years ago.
9.
Through cars, through a shop that we had in Denver. Yep. And she came over with her husband, Matt. At the time was her boyfriend. And we've been friends ever since and do car functions together. Yep. I met Sherry. This is Sherry Guth. We met through your husband, Bob, and Mike were with cars. Mm-hmm. So we met that way probably 6 years, 7?
Yeah, about that.
Somewhere around there.
It's been a long time.
So we do a lot of car concours together, mm-hmm. which is always a blast. And then Chanel Watley. We didn't meet through cars. We met through our children. But same difference. She's a car girl. Her husband's into cars. So it's just like a common thing we have together, and we get together on the weekends and go to concours, and we drink wine and take cars and go eat dinner, and we just have a great time. Mm-hmm. So we're going to start out by, and I'm going last because I had the worst first car. We're going to go around and tell what our very first car was at 16. Wow. So you go, Jenna.
So I had the pleasure of being surprised with an Isuzu iMark. It was a 1987, and it was a box, and it was burgundy. But it was my car, and I was so happy to have independence at that point in time.
Yep.
I'll tell you, though, I really wanted a coupe, and at that point, a Honda coupe.
Oh, the Civic?
The Prelude.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm way older than you. Yeah. I forgot.
That was the car of my dreams, but I ended up with what I called the box.
Okay.
But it worked out, so, you know.
He gave me freedom.
Yep.
I thought it was a cool card.
Did you really?
Yeah.
It's like It's like the other one, little Chevy little box car. What was the one that they had out at that point in time? It was often, it's like the little boxes. I don't remember. I don't remember that.
I don't know.
Maybe
You'll be very proud of yours when you hear mine.
oh, okay.
Sarah, what was your car?
So my car, it was a hot rod. It was a 1979 Dodge Omni 024. And when I say hot rod, I am just teasing, of course. But I remember my father needing to get me a car to go off to college. And he got it somewhere and brought it home. And I remember him telling me that it was $2,100 to buy the car, but it had a cracked head, whatever that means, as I didn't know. I was 16 at the time and didn't care. I just wanted my wheels. So I had to pay $200 towards my savings to that car in order for him to fix it for us, which he did.
But then you had some steak in it.
I had some steak in it, and I had to pay for the gas, but it was a great car. I loved it. Yeah, we can maybe come back to some funny stories if time permitting, but it was black and gray, and it just, it rode nicely, and it didn't matter. We just were excited to be able to have a vehicle to transport us and have the girls all go out, to have wheels.
What's your story? Go ahead and tell.
So in my story, this is a funny story where we dubbed the name of my car Christine. Remember the Stephen King novel with the possessed car, and mine was possessed. I remember there was a place in Pittsburgh where I grew up. They had like kind of a lookout point where you would go with boys, to kind of hang out. So we did that, my girlfriend and I remember pulling up and turning the car off and taking the keys out, and the motor was still running.
Oh.
It was just still running. Now, I didn't know anything what to do, so I tried to stick the key back in and start it up, and it made this awful grinding sound. So I thought I just better call my dad. And we had to walk to a payphone because, of course, cell phones weren't around. And I called my dad. I said, you have to come and to get us because the car is, not performing correctly. I can't start it back up. It keeps running and my keys are in my hands. He goes, oh, Jesus. So he came out and he fixed whatever it was. That story and one more quick one. The inside of the locks when I was at work one day got frozen. I could not get out of my car. So I had to climb out the hatchback in a dress.
Oh my gosh.
So imagine that.
So your car lights froze from the inside.
From the inside.
Did you have heat?
I don't remember. I just remember having to pop the hatch and climb out the back to get out.
Oh,
So, telling the story to people, they were like, your car is Christina. It's been dubbed Christine.
Perfect name.
Yeah.
Perfect name.
Yeah, perfect name.
That's perfect, yeah.
Well, Chanel, what was yours?
I had a 1967 Mercury Cougar.
Nice.
And without really knowing it or intending on it, I wish today that I appreciated that car. Now I see it now and I'm like, wow, that was just such a cool car. Back then, I didn't quite understand what I had, but I was this tiny thing, and those things, no shocks, just bounced for a few minutes. But my dad kind of unintentionally turned me into a car girl back then. I don't think he really meant for it to, but he had got two cars. One was a parked car, and one was the car he had bought for me, and he was going to rebuild it. And so he did, and they're probably the best stories come from that car. I was so tiny I couldn't reach the pedals, so Dad had to duct tape a 2x4 to the gas pedal and the brake pedal. I could hit the clutch, which our generation's probably the last one that knew how to drive a standard, right?
Yeah.
But the first time we went to go put gas in it, the gas was behind the license plate. Well, I was a girl. I didn't know anything about that. And so my brothers and I are laying under the car at the gas station for probably a good 5 minutes just trying to locate the tank. And my brother finally says, it's back here. We've opened the trunk. We've looked all over. And finally some man who had probably been hysterically laughing the whole time came over and pulled the license plate and showed me where to put gas the first time. But yeah, we had there was a hole in the floorboard on the passenger side, so we're like the Flintstones. So I was always afraid one of my friends or my brother was going to lose his legs out the back. So we came up with this great idea to take a piece of cardboard, and we wrapped it in a plastic bag and then duct taped it, and then put my Betty Boop floor mat on top. Worked great.
There you go.
Worked great. It was, and so because it needed so many things, this power steering fluid was, there was a leak. So I learned right away where my power steering fluid went. Didn't know. None of my friends knew where that went.
Yeah.
Also learned that when you look under your car to see what colors are on the ground, that indicates where you need to, what you need to buy.
Oh,
And my parents loved to tell the story of blinker fluid. I needed
blinker.
they sent me for blinker fluid.
Blinker, yes.
Because the little
Yeah.
headlights that go up and down. Well, one was kind of stuck, so she's kind of
we
down. Yeah. So I was under the impression, and they were sequential in the back, and they made that noise.
Yeah.
So I thought it was low on blinker fluid. I had to put every other kind of fluid in that car. So yeah, it was a great car.
That's funny.
So yeah, unintentionally, my sweet dad turned me into a car girl.
I love it. He did a good job.
He did.
Did you have any stories with your car?
No, not really. Oh, we did end up taking the car to Korea when my mom took a job too.
Holy cow.
Yeah, she decided to move me in my junior year of high school to Korea, and that was the car that went with us. And it was perfect because it was like this little petite little thing that could go everywhere.
Oh.
It still remains in Korea today. So
That's
still remains. That's about it.
But now, are they the driver on the other side?
Uh-uh.
Oh, no. So you were still
Yeah.
the same way?
Yeah,
Wow, that was perfect.
Yeah.
So, because it'd been my luck, it would have been on the other side, and then I would have been all messed up. So, well, my poor first car was a little Honda Civic, the little Honda Civic, the tiny one. It was so ugly, but it got me to school, got me to work, and got me out of the house.
Yeah.
On the weekends, we could. The only deal was I had to take my sisters to school, and then bring them home. But after that, I was on my own. I was good. So I didn't even care. I didn't even care what it looked like. It got me on the road.
Right.
So that was all I cared about. And it was a stick. So my dad always said, all three of you will learn to drive a stick.
Yep.
Because if you ever get stuck anywhere and that's all you have to drive, then I want you to be able to get out. So that's what we did. And but I kind of like the cars that we have now. We have a much better
And much nicer sticks.
much better cars.
Slightly more reliable.
But yeah, a lot more. Now we have great husbands that we can call and go, I don't know what it's doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Please come and get me. Get me. But you know what, though? I mean, and I know you guys, and I know Eric's probably done the same with you, talking about buying these cars, because I can remember Mike coming, the very first car. He's like, listen, I want to start buying a car every now and again. I promise you it's not anything crazy. I promise you it's going to make some money, and we'll eventually have a little collection, and we could take them out and do things with them. Mm-hmm. So, I'm like, he's always been good with money. So, like, whatever you think, we'll go that route. So, this is terrible. I can't even remember the very first car. Had to have been a Mustang of some sort. I think it was a black Mustang. So he came home with that, and we actually could take the kids out in it. We didn't very much because they were little, and there were no snacks. There was no drinking anything, no water, no nothing. So they didn't go often. But the more I watched him research cars and watch the trends go up, I mean, he always said, that's why I love the name of this podcast. He always said, it is just parking money. It's like a CD. We're just going to hang on to it. And if something ever happens we need the cash, we can sell a car.
Right.
So, but what I like, he refers to it sometimes as it's nothing different than the stock market.
Right.
But the stock market is so volatile, crazy, up and down all the time. Plus, you can't touch it.
Right.
We can come in here and we can touch them, we can look at them, we can drive them, we can take them out, for a day, or all of us get together and, go have fun with them. So to me, I would rather him have money into the cars than so much in the stock market.
Yes.
I think that's a good point. I think when you look at diversity, in your portfolio, there's different asset allocations, whether it be in the stock market or, real estate, whatever you think you might want to do. In cars, really, I always thought they just depreciate as soon as you drive them off the lot, until my husband, started getting involved in the car collecting world and really educating me on what it means to purchase a high-end luxury car, like a supercar, and how, once you start making those purchases and, you become defined as a customer, you get on the lists for new cars that are coming out.
Right.
And I think that's where you really benefit the most, being able to be on the list for a great car that you might buy for X amount and you double your money, within a year or two, depending on whether it's a special edition or, anything that's there that would, I don't know why it does this, but I see it, I've seen it, and I've watched it just with his cars. Now, that doesn't mean that all of them do that. Right. I mean, we purchased some cars that we've taken a loss on. So, like you had referenced the stock market, I think, it ebbs and flows.
Yep, it's up and down, up and down.
But the beauty of it is I think if you drive the cars and you enjoy them, it's a really fun hobby to be involved in.
You can't drive the stock market.
No, exactly.
There's nothing
Can't
like
touch
a
it.
beautiful fall day and a beautiful car.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, but I do kind of like our Ferraris that we drive now versus Hondas.
Yes.
My little Honda. You have a beautiful Ferrari that you did yourself. Like you designed it.
I did. This was part of, my husband coming home one day and asking me, would you like a Ferrari? And I said, well, where would I drive it? I would go to TJ Maxx and, little local stores. Where would I drive such a car? And I think it was part of his, evolution of trying to get up the chain, if you will, on being able to try to purchase new cars and the next fleet of cars that are coming out that would eventually be an asset for us. So I went through it, and it was a wonderful experience. It's a 2020 Portofino. And it had, I got to spec it out, which I wanted to look pretty, so it was like a pearlized color with a really pretty interior called Terra. I call it Terra Bruschetta, but there's some other Italian name for it that I would botch if I tried. But yeah, it's a lot of fun.
It is fun. They are fun. We still have to get the car gals group together. Just to get out and go to lunch, take our cars, the girls drive their cars and go to lunch. We should do that Christmas.
Again this year.
Yeah. And the girls take their cars. So, but you have put together a beautiful truck.
Well, I don't know that I've put it together, but I do like working on it with Eric. I really love to learn. So when he bought the truck, he said, this is, not like he hadn't been looking at it for about 4 weeks prior to, but this is your truck. And so I said, that's great, because I really want to learn. And he has a 1970 Bronco that he is just in love with it. I'm in love with it. It's beautiful. It is so fun to drive around.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, it is a blast. And, throw the dog in the back and just go for ice cream sometimes. It's the best. But the truck, we took the front end off and did some work there. And so learning about it and understanding what goes into it makes me appreciate so much more his passion and loving to see his passion for cars. And I mean, the man is on his phone all the time scrolling and looking at cars, and I'm so grateful.
That's right.
Yeah,
Bring a trailer. Oh my goodness. Bring the trailer.
the bane of Bat. Yes. But I appreciate it because he'll bring to me, he'll show me the value in what I'm doing, and he'll say, look, a truck with these things that we just did to it, look at the value, and it's gone from, it's increased in value just by putting new headlights in by $10,000, and you're like, what just happened?
Yeah.
So it's been really fun to kind of explore and learn a little bit more about, and I like to be able to go to these car things and be a part of the conversation. So
Yeah.
the truck has helped me kind of.
See, good for you. You're good at wanting to learn.
Yeah.
I just want to know where you put the key in.
For how to get out of them.
Yeah. Tell your story.
That was an
a great
important
story.
part of yours. Yeah.
Yeah, so I came into learning about cars with Matt. And, when I met you and Mike at your shop, it was, not as big as this, but like almost, well, maybe as big. But I walked in and my eyes got really big because I had not been around cars like that before. I've never really thought that there was an entry point into that.
Yeah.
And so Matt really opened my eyes. And over time, he ended up with a Ferrari that was being restored. And that was one of the things that he commonly did. And that's really prevalent in this industry, is restoring cars. And then, they gain value, as you were talking about. And essentially what from there was, it was ready to go. It had been restored. The engine was ready to go. And he said, it was a late night in Charlotte. And he said, let's go out for a ride. And I was like, okay. So I'm generally okay with going along for the ride. It doesn't really matter if it's planes, motorcycles, or cars. So we get in the car and we're taking it out, and it's a beautiful Ferrari 512. And it was just humming down. We were going uptown Charlotte, and this guy was, hey, hey, hey. And you may have heard this story before on previous podcasts, because my husband, I think, talked about it a little bit. But this guy was like, this is a fabulous car, and taking pictures of it, right? And so that happened, and we were like, oh, this is great. We're going down. Next thing we know, we hear screaming again, and we think this guy is a little crazy about our car. No, the car is on fire. The car is on fire. So Matt quickly pulls over to the side, and he gets out the car, runs into some bar or something looking for a fire extinguisher. Meanwhile, I'd never been in this car before. Didn't know how to get out of the car. Doing like this, trying to figure out where the heck I pulled the handle to get out of this car. So luckily, I was saved, by a fireman or a volunteer fireman who's figured out how to get me out of the car. And Matt shows up with the air extinguisher afterwards, and the guy had already put the car out and everything. So luckily, I lived to see another day. But you want to talk about a Christine car? Yeah,
That was it.
That was it. I was like, please get rid of that car. Thankfully, it was repaired. Everything was fine. But after the fact, now it's kind of gone about its way. But
You're a trooper.
yeah, and I still get in cars. I still get in airplanes after stuff like this.
You have an airplane story where hot oil went all over you.
Well, yes, but that's for another show.
Oh my God. And I loved it because at the concourse, there's always these great parties, hangar parties. And so that's the fun side of going to the concourse. But there was a hangar party
Oh yeah.
when you guys had a problem with your plane and hot oil went on you. And I loved it because Matt, such a man.
Yep.
He's like, well, you still want to go? And Jenna's like, no, I only covered in oil. And the hangar parties are kind of dressy. And I mean, we'll see a little bit of everything. You can see blue jeans to sequins, so you never know.
Yeah.
Well, that was my first concourse with him. So we had gone down to Amelia Island, and he wanted to fly down to Daytona for Bike Week. And so we have an old Warbird. It's a Navion, and it's 1947. So
Wow.
with old cars and old planes, you always have things that happen. So, what Debbie's talking about is we flew in back from the going to Daytona just for riding for the day back to the concourse, and we had emergency landing with all the oil that came on, and we landed safely, and we hopped out of the plane, and there was this big hangar party with ice sculptures and chandeliers and beautiful people, and standing there and all that. And like, no, that's not happening today. I'm going back to the concourse. I'm going back to the condo. I'm not doing this. But that's what she's talking about. But, yeah.
But it's fun. And the people that you meet
Yes.
at the concourse, the people are so much fun. And every time we go, there are more and more women.
Yes.
At these. And there's more and more women with their own cars.
Right.
Like Diana.
Yes.
They have their own cars. They, like Chanel, they like to work on their cars. And so, I mean, it's a little bit of everything for everybody. There's all kinds of, like shopping and
Sure.
things like that you can do.
You don't necessarily have to be a motorhead,
Yeah.
quote unquote, to enjoy a Concord because, they usually host them at beautiful venues,
Yeah.
where they have cuisine that's great, the food and drink is wonderful. And they have a lot of different activities. So if you're not 100% into it, you can enjoy other things that they have to offer, whether it be at the spa or, fashion show, anything like that you might be interested in doing. But the more and more I've been going to them, the more and more I like to see the cars. Yes. I might not know everything about them or, the models or the years, but just the beauty. And I think
And the stories
yes,
that they tell, the people tell.
and the dedication that the people have to showing a car because it's a lot of work.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not like you just drive up there and,
No.
Put your car on the lawn.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that goes into it. So I have
6 o'clock the next
it
morning.
sure is. Admiration for those people who do it all. That's dedication and passion.
Yeah. But they're like art, you know? And you get out of them what you put into them. And sometimes that's heart. Sometimes that's money.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's, physical work. But I think that's the beauty of it. And that's what I like watching when I go see these cars is understanding the person who owns that car and watching them just gush.
Yes, and tell their story.
Pride. The pride.
Yeah.
And especially in a full restoration.
Yes.
When people feel that this is their pride and joy and they want to tell you all about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matt's car, Brutus.
Oh, yeah. 916 Brutus Porsche. So let me just say this. 916 is a prevalent date for both of us because that's the day we met. 916.
Nice.
And so this car came about a year plus after we met. I think it were around, or maybe it was happening right around that time frame. But I know it took 3 years to restore this thing. And it was a huge restoration. And it was one of those cars that were just not known out there. There was people probably saying 916, what? But they named it Brutus. And essentially after the 3-year restoration, we took it to Retromobile in Paris to put it through. And it was one of those cars that you weren't sure how it was going to go over. And so going back to the money situation here, like you put all these dollars and cents and all of your time.
Yes.
And so when it cost the block, and it was well over $1 million. And so it was well worth the time and effort. And the joy on their faces once they saw that thing go, and they were like, we're going to get rid of that thing. Because it had
$1 million.
Yes. But I mean, that's a direct example of taking some of these old cars and you restore them.
Yes.
It's finding those diamonds in the rough too. Like the big thing that I learned from Matt through my years with him was when you get those low numbers production cars.
Yes.
And there's like ones that are just not significantly attainable. But if you find them in the barns, you find them through somebody word of mouth, which is what happened with Brutus, essentially it becomes something that you put some money into, but you'll reap the rewards. So it's like that whole parking money thing. It was parked for about 3 years with it was draw, but then it ended up paying off. So Brutus was significant in our
It's interesting. I have to agree with you and concur because Bob had a similar story too. It's funny that you said Brutus because he names his cars, but something very similar. He purchased a 1971 Dino, which Dino was the name of Enzo Ferrari's son, who had unfortunately passed away at a younger age. But it's truly Ferrari through and through. So when he bought the vehicle, it was silver. and he wanted to do a complete restoration on it. So he put his blood, sweat, and tears into basically stripping it down to the point where we were able to find the original color was this beautiful, like violet color. There's a special name for it, viola something. But anyway, he did as much restoration as he could do, and then he shipped it off to a restoration company in Pennsylvania, and they did the balance of it.
Wow.
And it was just so nice to see that from the other side, right? The people that are passionate about making these cars come alive again, you know, and bringing them back to their vintage state. And we were just thrilled about it. It was probably a 2-year restoration as well, and a lot of money going into it. So, you know, a lot of wives that might be concerned about where is all of this money going into? Is it a continuous pit to pay? It isn't, because there's quantitative attributes and qualitative. You know, he was very fortunate. We took it down to Amelia this past year, and he won best in his class.
Yeah.
So it was something to see the joy on his face, you know, when he got that blue ribbon was priceless.
Yeah.
You know, and the provenance that car will have continuing on and where he wants to show it, because it was an Amelia Island winner, is something that if you don't have a passion or a love for cars, I don't think you can really understand.
And you know what? That's a checked box when he goes to sell it.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know,
Increases the value.
Yeah, exactly. So I know when we took, Mike got into Z cars for a long, long time. And at first I thought, golly, you know, those are kind of old. I like shiny and shiny stuff and the convertible stuff. But he's like, nope, the same thing you said. They're low numbers. And then if you get them with matching numbers, because now
Matching. Yes.
I'm only going on what I hear all the time. So I know if there's matching numbers in there from the motor to the car, then you are in good shape.
Right.
You know, that is a huge positive. So he took, I believe there was 8 of our Z cars that he had had forever. He had had some restored. Some were completely original, but took them to Monterey. And so I haven't watched a big sale before, not been a part of the big sale.
Yeah.
So we go, he's like, you're coming with me up there. And I'm thinking, oh no, I just want to watch, you know. And he's like, well, you're coming up there with me, because one of the cars was a birthday present for me. But I just didn't drive it anymore. And so he's like, you know, we need to do something with it. So we're going to put it in the thing. So I go up there with him when the auction starts. And, you know, for a minute, there's a little bit of a lull. And then all of a sudden, you start seeing people on the front row. You see these guys will sit up straight. And then they start looking at their little papers and they're making notes. And then it starts going.
The octane kits.
Crazy.
Right?
Yeah. So it was so much fun. I was having hot flashes, and I'm thinking the money's going up. And there was one little guy at the front that just would not put his hand down, you know, and you're like, go, buddy, go. Keep going. But that was so much fun when we got finished. I mean, you hated to see 8 of the cars go, but when you made money on those cars, you know, my first thought was, well, what do we buy now?
Right.
You know, what are we going to go look for now? So, so it's fun. You know what, you can't not go. Like, I hate when he is going to go somewhere and I think, oh, go do a guy's thing. It'll be fun. And then they'll call well, the one story, the last time he went with the guys.
Oh, down
to Kissimmee. Our deal was he's just going to go and hang out with the guys and check out the cars. So I tell Jenna's husband, Matt, do not let Mike buy anything. Like, our shop is full. We can't, you pick what you want to drive based on how easy it is to get out the door.
yeah.
So I'm like, you know, the car is all full. We were talking about selling, but, you know, whatever. So he's like, okay, I get it. They go to Kissimmee, I think it's the first day. The first day he calls me up and he says, you're not going to believe what I just did. And I'm like, You already bought a car. So I'm like, where's Matt? Well, Matt's not here yet. Well, Matt walks up about the time we're talking. I'm like, put Matt on the phone. You had one job, and that was to keep him from buying a car. And he already bought one. Matt's like, I tried to get here.
Unsupervised.
They can't. It's just they can't help themselves.
I know. But then what's bad is I can be just as bad.
Yeah.
When we were in Scottsdale, there was this cool car there that had been, it's a Firebird, but I don't, like it had all been redone.
Yeah.
It just was a fun looking car. Walking past it, we were like, we're not buying anything. But at Scottsdale, we buy swings and jewelry. And so it's like, no, we're not buying a car. So we go up and I'm like, Mike, that's a really cool looking car. That would be fun we don't have to worry about the miles. We just go out and drive it and have a good time. So it's like, it only takes me to say, that's a really cool car.
Yeah,
and he's on it.
Yeah. Or do you get this with with your husbands? I know when Bob is really itching because he'll have a magazine. He'll say, how do you like this car? Or, he'll show it to me. Or there'll be something, he'll be doing on the internet or bring a trailer. And, what do you think about this? I'm like, oh, boy, here it comes. Here we go. But I think that, being able to see the passion that all of our husbands have and so many other people out there that are listening to the podcast, it's just, it's a great community of people.
Yes, it is.
It's wonderful to meet. Like, we never would have all become friends.
Honestly,
we didn't have all of this. And, you start building these friendships and traveling the world to go to these different concourses. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And I think that you get to a certain age in your life where you just want to have good friends and do fun things and enjoy life.
Yes. And no dramas.
No dramas.
Right. No dramas.
Right.
And even just sitting in our shops.
Yes.
Like your place, or just hanging out. When we just get together and hang out. We can sit in the shop and open a bottle of wine or drinks and throw out some whatever you want to munch on and turn the music on, and we can sit here and look at the cars and tell stories and laugh and talk.
Yeah. And it's fun. It becomes like your own little culture. Of ladies and gentlemen coming together to enjoy nice things and passion.
Yeah. And to your point with the looking at something and Mike being so eager to buy it for you, I don't think that there's ever been a time, and I feel very fortunate for the person that I married, because I never feel like there's a time where I've asked for something and he said no. Yeah. And so I try to consider that when he comes to me and says, I really, really think this is a great idea. And it's kind of fun to watch him finagle his way in there with that. And so, I mean, it's almost, you would not believe what I just found. And every time I believe it, but I do appreciate when the bonding that happens when that goes on, because he starts sharing with me things that I didn't know. Right. So it's kind of cool when he gives me that, hey, so, and you go, all right, tell me more. And then, and of course, because I love learning, then it's kind of a fun thing. But
and they always research it. That's
crazy.
Part of the fun,
right?
Yeah.
I think it's part of the hunt.
Yes,
it is.
And they know every detail about the vehicles. I don't know. There's two things about my husband. He can always remember every shot in his golf game. And every single thing about a vehicle.
Okay,
I can't even remember what I did 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
Or can you remember if you ask him, can you stop by the store and grab this? I forgot. Of course you do.
That's usually me. I have to say that. At my house, I'm the one that forgets everything.
But do you think it's like it starts when they're younger too? To me, it's so fun to watch little boys and girls too. I'm not trying to be, either gender specific, but it's predominantly in boys. But I remember one time Bob was driving one of his cars down the road, and there were two little boys on a skateboard, and you hear the engine coming, and this one boy, he had to be 6, maybe 6 or 7, and he's like, That is badass. You know, and I thought, oh my gosh, you're 6 years old. How do you know that word, number one? And how do you even know, like, the car is badass? So we just laughed so hard, and Bob, like, revved the engine up for him, and he's going, like, yay. You know, it was really cute to see. So it starts at a fun age.
It does.
You know, and it carries on. And to see the little boys come out of our husbands, or, you know, men that have a passion, and even with women that have a passion, you know, you get excited from deep within, which is wonderful to see.
Did all of your husbands have Matchbox cars when they were kids too?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like the suitcases of them.
Yes.
And okay.
Yeah. Mike's grandmother said that, you remember the old cable rugs?
Yes.
Like they were the circles that had the different colors
Yeah.
that would go around. She said he would sit for hours and he would race the cars. But to me, I'm like, God, after 5 minutes.
I'd be like, I'm busy.
She said he would sit for hours and move those cars and race those cars all the way around those the little cable rugs.
Yeah.
But you know what? You have to be born and bred, I think.
I think so. And, you know, just from the hospitality perspective, you think about it going into our husbands' garages in different places.
Yeah.
It's fun to see how they will, you know, come out and put a display of food or have the wine, just to be able to have someone come into the garage to be able to see.
Yeah.
It's really cute. In our community, we have women that do this Coffee and Connections.
Yes.
And they were talking all about, they were talking about barn dominiums. So a lot of ladies were like, what's a barn dominium? What goes into these buildings that they're building all over our community? So Bob hosted one, and it was really cute. They had 24 or 28 women. And he said, well, you're coming, aren't you? And I said, no, you're on your own. You've got to do this on your own.
The pictures we didn't see you. I was like,
Oh, it's like, because he's really humble about it, a little, you know, a little shy. But they had it there, and really, he got so many great questions from the women, really wanting to understand, you know, what it is, number one, and how do you get involved in it. And you don't have to have a lot of money to do it.
No.
It can be any car.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be a supercar. It could be something that's $2,000 that's special, that has a story.
That's just fun.
Yeah, that's the beauty of
Makes
the
you feel
whole
good.
hobby.
I had this was my favorite Matchbox when I was a kid. I had lots of those.
Did you? Yeah,
like the
those
little
little Hot
stories.
Wheels.
Yeah, I love that. And that's exactly it. And that's, I think some of us have kind of recognized our childhood and seen that and gone, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that makes
Yeah.
me so happy.
Now,
That's fun.
I'll talk about a car that is not like a supercar or a low number car or anything like that. As I've come up through my years, I'd always liked Carmen Gias. They don't go very fast, but they make me feel like it's kind of a James Bond situation.
Yeah.
Little car.
Yeah. That's the perfect size car for you because we call you fun size. Yeah. That's a great car.
When you were talking about the pedal thing, I was like, yeah, I've had that many, many, many times with the Jeeps. But so I had talked about this with my husband over the years. You know, oh, I love Volkswagens. I love the Carmen Gias, and every time we'd be at shows, I would kind of navigate towards them. That and COEs, cab overs, so I a thing. But so I talked about it. So recently, I was coming of my half a century, and I had always talked about having a Carmen Ghia and how cool it would be, and I wanted a convertible, convertible, like wind blowing in your hair, just driving up the mountains, you know the whole thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'd always said I really would love to have the last production year of a Carmen Ghia, and I wanted a convertible. So for those of y'all who don't know, it's 1974, so I just aged myself. But what I learned as I looked at the cars, there was only so many made because it was the last production year, and there was only so many convertibles made. So of course, in my mind, I'm thinking we've over the years looked and looked and looked. Well, I just kind of, Well, my husband surprised me with a 1974 Pearl. Beautiful.
It is beautiful.
The color is pretty.
It is such a pretty car. It is so mean.
And suits you, yes.
Yeah.
Like it's just like on the side it should have said "made for Jenna." This car was produced just for you. Yeah.
It is beautiful.
Carmen Ghias are so like they're more common, but like being taken care of or stored, and like the number of years, and like so even cars like that. I mean,
Yes.
I can't wait to drive mine to the next Cars and Coffee.
Yeah.
Like seriously, I cannot wait.
We need to bring it to the Cars and Coffee here.
Yeah.
Yeah, just drive it over.
Yeah.
So
It's perfect.
well, but ladies, it looks like our wine glasses are emptying.
They're empty.
Yours are emptier than mine. So I got to catch up.
One of us has more self
But
control.
Well, I don't think this was bad. I think we
I love this.
it was very comfortable.
Always fun to get
We
to
did
visit with
good.
you ladies.
It's fun. It's
Yeah,
fun.
absolutely.
I think it's fun to be able to share with other women out there
Yep.
that are listening or seeing the podcast that, there's always an entry point, and it doesn't matter what you have. So don't let some of these things that we're talking about, depending on the car, discourage anyone.
Right.
And it's an opportunity to join a wonderful group,
Yep.
get into the hobby, enjoy it for what it's worth, and be proud of what you have.
That's exactly.
Be proud of what you have.
exactly. Well, if you will like, subscribe, and share our podcast, that would be great. And if you would like to see more of us on here, just chit-chatting and talking, maybe we can learn new stuff and come and chit-chat and talk.
Yes. So we do have a bet with our
come.
husbands, right? Like we'll get more likes.
Yeah, we need more likes on Parking Money than the guys do.
That's
it's a
right.
bet.
We have a
It's a
mission.
bet.
Yes.
So,
Challenge accepted, right, everybody?
exactly. So, but this was good. So we'll toast ourselves right on out the
All
door.
right. This friends, girlfriends, so much fun. Cheers, Jenna.
Cheers.
Can't reach you.
Thank you.